Okay, let's unpack this. We're diving deep today into a stack of sources you've shared with us, all focused on the digital world specifically, the fundamentals of computer security, the landscape of how technology can be misused, and its truly massive impact.
Yeah, it's a huge topic, how it affects jobs, different sectors, pretty much everything.
Exactly. Think of this as your way to get up to speed quickly on something that's, well, pretty crucial and maybe a bit daunting. Our mission, looking at these sources, is to pull out the key insights, maybe some surprising facts, and help you connect the dots.
That was good.
So let's just jump in. What does it actually mean to secure something in, well, this digital age? And why does it feel like such a constant battle?
That's the perfect place to start. The sources show it's really layered. At the base level, you have computer security.
Okay.
This is basically about controls, think rules, safeguards for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. Yeah, the CIA triad.
Right, CIA. Got it.
For all parts of a computer system, data, software, hardware, firmware, it's really focused on keeping that specific computer or system safe while you're using it.
Okay, so the machine itself.
Pretty much. Then, stepping back, you have the wider concept, cybersecurity. This is much broader.
How so?
It's the whole collection of technologies, processes, practices, everything designed to protect the networks, the devices connected to them, the programs, the data flowing around, protecting it all from attack, damage, or, unauthorized access.
Okay. So the bigger picture, sometimes called IT security.
Exactly, information technology security. And a really key piece the sources highlight is cybersecurity risk assessment. That's about understanding, managing, and mitigating risks across the whole organization.
That distinction makes sense. Computer security for the box, cybersecurity for the whole connected world it lives in. But I mean, things still go wrong all the time. How do these security incidents actually happen? What are the kind of building blocks?
Yeah, the forces break it down into 4 key elements that usually come together. First, you need a vulnerability.
A weakness.
Exactly. A flaw, a weakness that could be exploited, like an internet-connected system without strong enough passwords. Then you have a threat.
Okay.
That's the potential for harm. The intent to cause damage or exploit that weakness, the sources mentioned, like a disgruntled ex-employee threatening to delete files.
Right, the potential danger.
Then, when that threat actually acts on the vulnerability, that's the attack, the actual harm.
Like the ex-employee actually doing it, encrypting the file.
Precisely. Encrypting files for ransom, for example.
Uh-huh.
And finally, there's the countermeasure. That's what you do to prevent it or lessen the damage. Maybe limiting firewall access could have stopped them getting in.
So vulnerability is the open door, and threat is the person thinking about walking through it. They really go hand in hand.
Absolutely. Vulnerability is the passive weakness. Could be outdated software, a misconfigured setting, even like an unlocked server room. The threat is the active thing trying to exploit it, hackers targeting known flaws, or maybe even a natural event, like a flood hitting poorly stored equipment.
And where do these threats and vulnerabilities come from?
The sources classify them. You've got external sources, things like natural disasters, power surges, definitely external hackers, or even terrorist attacks targeting infrastructure.
The stuff from outside.
Right. But just as important, maybe more insidious sometimes, are internal sources, and these can be accidental.
Like typos.
Yeah, data entry errors, accidentally deleting files, bugs in software developed in-house, or the classic one, someone opening an infected email attachment without thinking.
Oops.
Exactly. Or they can be deliberate internal threats. Disgruntled employees causing damage or stealing data, internal fraud, actual physical theft of laptops or drives, even industrial espionage from someone on the inside.
Wow. So the danger really is everywhere, inside, outside, accidental, on purpose. Okay, let's focus on this term the sources use, computer misuse. What exactly falls under that umbrella?
The sources define it pretty broadly. It's basically any activity using computers, networks, or digital data that's unauthorized, unethical, or illegal and harms people, organizations, or society.
That covers a lot of ground.
It really does. Hacking, fraud, spreading malware, stealing data, online harassment. It's a wide range.
And why should everyone, not just tech people, be concerned about this?
Well, the sources are very clear on the impact. It's huge. We're talking billions in costs globally every year. But beyond money, it hits personal privacy hard, causes real financial distress, and, fundamentally undermines security at all levels.
So it affects us all.
Definitely. The key takeaway is that vigilance from individuals, businesses, governments isn't really optional anymore. It has to be constant because the threats keep changing.
Okay, can you give us some concrete examples of this misuse? The sources seem to list quite a few.
Yeah, let's break down some of the common forms mentioned. There's a big focus on financial crimes. Computer fraud, for instance, has exploded with electronic payments.
Makes sense.
Related to that is identity theft, stealing your personal details, not just to have them, but specifically to make purchases or open accounts pretending to be you.
Ugh.
And then there's direct financial abuse, getting into someone's bank account to mess with things or just steal money.
Okay, so financial motives are big. What else?
Deception is another huge area. Phishing attacks are everywhere. Those fake emails or websites trying to trick you.
Pretending to be your bank or something.
Exactly. Impersonating legitimate companies to get you to cough up passwords or credit card numbers. And on a bigger scale, there's propaganda and fake news using networks to spread biased or totally false information to sway opinions. Think fake emails, dodgy websites.
Information warfare, almost.
In a way, yes. Then there's the whole issue of data itself being the target. Unauthorized data collection is a major concern.
How does that happen?
It ranges from industrial espionage companies spying electronically on rivals to electronic eavesdropping, like tapping communications or using spyware to grab passwords as you type them.
Spyware.
Yeah, software that watches you secretly. And even just surveillance, tracking your online activity without proper consent. Websites using cookies to build up detailed profiles of what you do online falls into this too.
Feels a bit creepy.
It can be. And fundamental to many attacks is just getting in where you shouldn't be. Unauthorized access or hacking.
Breaking in.
Right. The sources say motives vary. Could be vandalism, could be serious crime. Once inside, they can steal data or plant malware.
Malicious software. That sounds bad.
It is. And it comes in lots of nasty flavors. Ransomware is a big one, locks up your data, demands payment.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Spyware, as we mentioned, secretly monitors you. Trojans look like legitimate programs but hide malicious code. And viruses, worms, are designed to self-replicate and spread, corrupting systems or deleting files.
Okay, that's a scary list. Any other major types of misuse?
Yeah, a couple more key ones. Copyright infringement is huge. Illegally copying or sharing software, music, movies include software music piracy.
And downloading stuff you shouldn't.
Essentially, yeah. And then there are attacks designed just to cause disruption. Denial of service, duress attacks. They don't usually steal data. They just flood a website or network with so much traffic that it crashes and becomes unusable.
Just pure disruption. Wow. Okay, that paints a pretty bleak picture of the threats. So knowing all this, what can we actually do? What are the defenses, the countermeasures?
Right. The sources cover a lot of the defense side, too. It's about layers. Yeah. At the core is data security itself measures specifically to keep the data safe from misuse.
How?
Well, technically, you have things like software restrictions limiting what users or programs can access. Passwords are basic, but still vital.
Need strong ones.
Definitely. Encryption is key scrambling data, so only the intended recipient with the key can read it, like a secret code for your information, especially when it's being sent.
Okay, what about network defenses?
Crucial. A firewall acts like a bouncer for your network, checking traffic and blocking unauthorized remote access attempts. Virus protection, antivirus software, is essential to find and remove malware. And an intrusion detection system, IDS, watches network activity for suspicious patterns and alerts you.
Like a burglar alarm for the network.
Good analogy, yeah.
So that's the digital side. What about, the actual computers, the physical stuff?
Physical security is just as important. The sources stress. Backup and recovery procedures are non-negotiable. Yeah. You need a separate copy of your data so you can restore it if the original gets wiped out or encrypted.
Makes sense. Backup, backup, backup.
Absolutely. Archiving is related for long-term storage of old data, sometimes even physically. Then there's access control. Biometric systems, fingerprint scanners, retina scans provide strong physical security.
Futuristic stuff.
Becoming more common. But simpler things, too. Locks and guards. Locking laptops to desk, locking doors, alarms, security guards, safes for physical documents. It all adds up. Even just good maintenance protecting gear from dust, power spikes, heat, that's a form of physical protection.
Okay, so organizations have technical and physical controls. What about us as individuals? What can we do day to day?
The sources list several really important personal security practices, things you should be doing all the time, like verifying emails, really look at the sender, hover over links before clicking, be suspicious if it asks for info.
Be skeptical.
Very skeptical. Check website URLs, carefully look for typos or weird domain names. Be super cautious on public Wi-Fi. Secure your phone and laptop with strong passwords or biometrics. And just be mindful of what you share online, especially on social media. Check those privacy settings.
Good reminders. Now, for organizations facing all this complexity, how do they deal with risk systematically? It can't just be guesswork.
No, definitely not. That's where the formal cybersecurity risk assessment process comes in. The sources lay out an 8-step framework. It's quite structured.
Okay, walk us through it. Step 1.
Step 1. Figure out what information is most valuable. You can't protect everything equally, so you focus on critical assets, classifying them critical, major, minor, based on business value, legal needs, etc.
Prioritize.
Step 2. Identify and prioritize which specific assets to assess first. Which servers, databases, applications matter most.
Got it.
Step 3. Identify the threats. What could actually harm those assets? This includes hackers, malware, but also natural disasters, system failures, human error. You list potential threats like data leaks, service disruption, unauthorized access, and think about their impact.
Okay, threats identified, then.
Step 4. Identify vulnerabilities. Where are the weaknesses that these threats could exploit? You find these through audits, vulnerability databases, vendor info, maybe after an incident. Patching software is key here, but also physical things like no keycard access.
Find the holes.
Step 5. Analyze and implement new controls. Based on the threats and vulnerabilities, what can you do? This could be technical controls like firewalls, or non-technical like new policies or training. Are they preventative? Stop attacks. Or detective? Find attacks.
Adding defenses.
Step 6. Calculate likelihood and impact. This is where you try to quantify the risk. How likely is this threat to happen per year? What would it cost? The source gives an example. If data is worth $100 and a loss has a 50% chance, but only happens maybe once in 50 years, the annual expected loss is $1. That helps justify spending on controls.
Putting numbers on it.
Step 7. Prioritize risks. Based on that calculation and the cost to fix things, you decide what to tackle first. High risks need immediate action. Medium risks, maybe within a reasonable time frame. Low risks, you might just accept or deal with later.
Makes sense. Triage.
Step 8. Document everything. Write it all down in a risk assessment report for management. Describe the risks, vulnerabilities, value, impact, likelihood, and what controls you recommend. It informs their decisions on where to spend money and effort.
That sounds like a really thorough process for big organizations. Are there also more sort of everyday practical things companies should be doing constantly to minimize risk?
Oh, absolutely. The sources list a bunch. Keeping everything patched, latest security updates, regular scans is huge. Protecting outbound data with things like egress filtering at the firewall.
Taking what leaves the network, too.
Exactly. Regular security training for everyone is vital. People are often the weakest link. Smart password policies, obviously. Encrypting sensitive data wherever it sits or travels. Limiting login attempts to stop brute force attacks.
What about a kill switch?
Yeah, having a way to quickly shut things down if a breach is detected. Using a password manager helps people use strong, unique passwords without writing them down. And a big one. Never store credit card info yourself if you can avoid it. Use a third-party processor.
Outsource that risk.
Definitely. And finally, automated off-site backups are critical for recovery, along with monitoring to catch problems early.
Right. It's clear that security is this ongoing, layered effort. Tech, physical, human. But let's shift gears now. Beyond just security and misuse, computers and ICT have had this, well, enormous impact on society. Let's look at that broader picture, starting with jobs. How has automation changed the job market?
It's been a massive shift, and the sources show it's complex. On one hand, yes, there's been job loss. Some jobs just don't exist anymore. Humans get replaced by machines, especially on assembly lines or for really repetitive or dangerous work.
The robots taking over?
In some areas, yes. Or tasks that needed several people now need just one with the right software. But on the other hand, there's been huge job creation.
Oh.
Millions of new roles emerged because of computers, research, design, programming, maintenance, digital marketing, IT support, cybersecurity. The list goes on. Plus, ICT has made jobs more accessible for people with disabilities.
So jobs lost, but also jobs gained.
Exactly. Which leads to a fundamental change in job skills. What's needed for many jobs has totally changed. Basic computer literacy isn't optional now, it's expected.
Like secretaries needing Word, not typewriters.
Precisely. Or architects using CAD instead of drawing boards. People need to constantly learn and upgrade skills. And it's changed work patterns.
Oh, so?
Telecommuting, working from anywhere. Accessing work information outside normal hours, teachers emailing assignments, police accessing databases from their cars. Much more flexibility, for better or worse.
That really captures the double-edged sword. What specific computer skills do people need in different jobs now? It's not just for programmers.
Oh, not at all. The sources show it's widespread. Office workers need word processors, spreadsheets, databases, email. Teachers use educational software, presentation tools, online resources. Engineers use specialized CAD and simulation software. Medical staff use monitoring systems, patient databases, imaging tech.
Musicians, movie makers.
Musicians use recording and editing software. The film industry relies heavily on CGI and animation tools. Media people use digital tools for everything. Law enforcement uses databases, biometrics, surveillance tech. It's everywhere.
Okay, so computers as tools within jobs. What about the people whose whole job is the computer systems, the IT professional?
Right. The sources list many specialized roles. You've got the IT manager overseeing the department, the systems analyst figuring out user needs and designing systems, the programmer writing the code, the network administrator keeping the network running, the database administrator managing the data.
Lots of administrators.
Yeah, crucial roles. Then computer engineers design hardware, technicians fix it, software trainers teach people how to use it, operations managers run the facilities, data entry operators input information.
Any newer roles?
Definitely. Social media specialists, system administrators keeping servers humming, computer support specialists, help desks, software developers building apps, data security specialists, the good guys fighting misuse,
Yeah.
web designers, webmasters. It's a huge ecosystem of jobs.
Incredible how many careers have sprung up. Okay, final big area. How has ICT transformed entire industries? Not just jobs, but the whole way sectors operate.
The impact here is profound, according to the sources. Look at banking. Electronic transactions, EFT, ATMs, credit cards, smarter, more secure smart cards, online banking. It's completely different from 30 years ago. Relies on complex software and hardware like ATMs and ICR readers.
Totally changed how we manage money.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Business too. Invoices, inventory tracking with barcodes, point-of-sale systems, accounting software, digital marketing, e-commerce, B2C, B2B, teleworking. It touches everything.
Education.
Huge changes. Computer-assisted assessment, computer-assisted learning with drills and simulations, computer-managed learning for admin tasks, online libraries, digital encyclopedias. And distance learning has exploded. Web-based learning, virtual classrooms.
Makes education more accessible.
In many ways, yes. Industry manufacturing and engineering heavily relies on ICT. Controlling assembly lines, simulations, computer-aided design, CAD for fast, flexible design work, computer-aided manufacturing, CAM, using robots and sensors for production, computer-aided engineering, CAE, for analysis.
Designing and building things faster and better.
That's the goal. Then you have artificial intelligence, AI, and robotics. Robots for repetitive or dangerous tasks. Expert systems acting like digital consultants with huge knowledge bases, helping with decisions in medicine or finance.
AI is everywhere now.
Increasingly so. Law enforcement uses ICT constantly. Criminal databases, forensics, communication, surveillance, traffic control, officer support systems, biometrics like fingerprint and facial recognition, profiling software.
Helping fight crime, but also raising privacy questions.
Exactly. Medicine has seen incredible advances. Patient monitoring, electronic health records, databases for diseases and drugs, expert systems for diagnosis, imaging like MRI and CT scans which rely totally on computers to create images, online collaboration for treatment, research.
Truly life-saving applications.
Definitely. And finally, even recreation. Music production is almost entirely digital now. Recording, synthesizing, editing, distributing. Movies use CGI everywhere. Video games are a massive global industry for fun and sometimes education.
It really has touched every single corner of life.
Well, that was an absolutely thorough journey through the sources you provided. We went from the basics of security, through all the ways tech can be misused, to its massive impact on jobs and entire sectors like banking, medicine, entertainment.
It really highlights just how intertwined computers and ICT are with, well, almost everything we do. They bring incredible benefits and efficiencies, things we couldn't imagine before. But as we saw, they also come with serious risks that need constant management.
And being well-informed, which is what you aimed for by digging into these sources, really feels like the most critical first step in just navigating this complex digital world.
Absolutely. Understanding the threats and vulnerabilities isn't about being scared. It's about being empowering ourselves, our organizations, our societies to build better defenses, make smarter choices, and really trying to maximize the good that technology offers while minimizing the harm. So to leave you with something to think about, building on all this, Given this relentless pace of change, the constant evolution of threats and applications, how can we as individuals and as a society stay resilient, stay secure, and make sure we're harnessing the positive power of ICT while effectively managing its dark side?